Good evening. I'm back. Different purpose this time. Want to run an essay by you from a new work. And before I do that, I'll sing the song it's focused on, it centers on. Broken windows and empty hallways, a pale dead moon in a sky streaked with grey. Human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today. Scarecrows dressed in the latest style, frozen smile to chase love away. Human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today. Lonely, tin can at my feet, think I'll kick it down the street. That's the way to treat a friend. Bright before me, signs implore me, help the needy and show them the way. Human kindness is overflowing, and I think it's gonna rain today. And keeping the focus on the bright before me, signs implore me, help the needy and show them the way. When a band I once fronted, Granny's Intentions, first moved to London back in the 1960s and signed a record deal with Decca Records, we were plied by music publishers with potential hit singles. One of the demos that came our way, possibly the first time it was circulated, was a ballad written and performed by Randy Newman in the Negro spiritual mode, I Think It's Going to Rain. Given the kind of soulful music we played at the time, it's hard to believe we didn't go for the song. But this was probably because we started writing our own material at this time. But by God, looking back on it, what a magnificent song we passed on. I Think It's Going to Rain is one of the finest modern songs written about the need for compassion in our world, with the age-old love message abused so often through stone-dead cliché, resurrected in Randy Newman's unique, ironic way of writing. Irony has possibly never been applied in a lyric to such poignant effect. Randy's soft heart became more encrusted with a harder cynicism after this, and though he has written many fine songs over his long career, even penning the score for the film Toy Story and other films along the way, he never achieved the same level of tenderness in a song again. But with a masterpiece as good as this under his belt, who's complaining? I came upon an online discussion on the meaning of the lyric of I Think It's Going to Rain Today a while back, and wasn't surprised to find a high level of confusion and misunderstanding about the song. Without an awareness of Randy's habit of taking on characteristics in his lyrics diametrically opposed to his own views, it's easy to end up scratching your head while listening to him. In his most humorous songs, you get the picture quickly enough, and more often than not, it puts a smile on your face. His single Putin, for instance, which rhymes off many seemingly positive aspects of the Russian leader's manly attributes, reaches an absurd level which you sense is coming all along when Randy croons, "When he takes off his shirt, I almost wish I was a girl." The irony of "I Think It's Going to Rain" is in a completely different dimension. It's a deadly serious song, and irony and gravity rarely rhyme or elevate. Randy takes us into a bleak, derelict zone, and after exposing the downside of the human condition in very dark shades, he ends each verse with the line, "And I think it's going to rain today," which hammers home the message that things are going to get worse, not better. To make matters even more grim, he copper fastens this bleak assessment by informing us in the bridge section that in the heartless region he has brought us to, even friendship is disposable as a tin can kicked down the street. All this would be extremely depressing if it weren't for the fact that Randy's motive in taking us to this emotional wasteland is to demonstrate that an alternative place hinted at throughout the song is available and presented in the final verse. "Bright before me, signs implore me, help the needy and show them the way." In the context that this revelation is imparted, the message takes the breath away, or it took mine away when I focused on it. No artist working in the relatively modern medium of television has taken up the challenge presented in "I Think It's Going to Rain" more successful than the TV dramatist Jimmy McGovern, most of whose work concerns itself with working class communities struggling against the odds to cope with the harsh realities of urban life in our time. The fact that Jimmy chose "I Think It's Going to Rain" as the theme song for his BBC One drama series Broken speaks for itself. He even used the first word or the first line of the lyric for its title. Nina Simone's aching version of the song is totally in tune with the dissonance of McGovern's portrayal of modern rural life in northern England. Each tragic episode is heralded by the opening verse of the song: broken windows and empty hallways, a pale dead moon in a sky streaked with grey. But one of the great wonders of the series is that the next line of the lyric, "Human kindness is overflowing," tinged with irony in Randy's vision, is sanctified through McGovern's lens in the unfolding drama of what must surely be McGovern's masterpiece. The broken windows may give us a view of some of the most disturbing scenes we're likely to see on modern television, and the creepy hallways and unsettled doors they lead to send shivers down our spines week after week. But we remain glued to our screens nonetheless, because we know that the horrific trauma we're watching is in no way gratuitous entertainment, but essential matter vital for the heart and soul. With a priest at the centre of the drama, played magnificently by Sean Bean, and the Catholic Mass and the Eucharist utilised with Christ's crucifixion repeatedly drawn on throughout the series to heighten the pathos, it's hard to figure out how Jimmy, who's not a believer, took the risk of communion with such an ostracised institution as the Catholic Church as his linchpin. But by God, it works, with the help of Randy Newman's most moving song. My ears always perk up when Randy's voice comes on the radio, though I stopped buying his albums many years ago. The last collection of his that I listened closely to, Sail Away, featured a song that defined his turning his back on faith of all denominations. God's Song, which has a set of lyrics that contain the same kind of irony we're well used to from Newman, only in this case the cynicism has become razor sharp. Ironically, the song also has the same kind of human sympathy running through it that defines his best work. God's Song starts with the murder of Abel by Cain, whose brother Seth asks God rhetorically, "If the children of Israel were to multiply, why must all the children die?" God answers chillingly that man means nothing to him, less than the lowest cactus tree in the desert, where traditionally man has always gone to pray and look for God. But man's prayers, according to Randy, are laughed at in the heavens now, and that's why he, God, loves mankind. This mockery of the Jews by their Maker is extended to Christians, Buddhists and Hindus in the second verse, and catastrophe of one kind or another is the reward for putting their trust in God, who ends by telling his followers that they must be crazy to place their faith in him. But that's why I love mankind. With God's Song, Randy puts God in the dock with the skill of a sharp attorney, calling on all his powers of lyrical cynicism, injected ironically with a deep level of black gospel vocal pathos learned from Ray Charles and other Negro singers to get his indictment across with maximum force. But of course, free will is left out of the equation, which is the only line of defense that might be mounted against Randy. But with no faith in the concept of religious free will, Randy would no doubt laugh such an argument out of the court. And in today's America, where faith itself is under scrutiny by some of the leading judges, maybe God himself would be found guilty and go down for a long stretch. It's kind of ironic that one of Randy's less successful works artistically, as well as commercially, Faust, a rock opera at the lower end of a descending aesthetic scale, a parody of another well-known rock musical that no doubt sparked it off for polemical, cynical reasons, is based on a classic comic version of Goethe's most successful drama, Faust, which deals with soul-selling for romantic worldly gain. Though I'm not for a moment suggesting that Randy came to a pact with old Nick in his career, the amount of success he's had since those early days when his publisher was hawking his songs to the likes of my old band from Limerick has been phenomenal. Looking up his profile on Wikipedia, I was surprised by the abundance of accolades he's accrued over the years. 6 or 7 Golden Globes, 16 Grammys and 20 or more Academy Award nominations, with 2 wins, as well as being inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 2002. The devil, they say, loves his own. But I guess Randy doesn't have to worry on that score, excuse the pun, for as he doesn't believe in God, I guess he doesn't believe in old Nick either. In a recent solo show of Newman's in the Barbican, broadcast on BBC 4, I was relieved when Randy didn't include God's Song in his programme or mention Faust. I was also surprised by the high level of artistry in some of his love songs, many of which I hadn't heard before. And I was delighted when he ended his performance with "I Think It's Gonna Rain Today," which deservedly drew a huge encore from the crowd, as well as a few tears from my eyes. A question I often reflect on after I sing "I Think It's Gonna Rain Today" is, where did the inspiration for such a pure work of art come from? Only Randy could definitively answer that, but I imagine that such an answer is surely enclosed in that appealing line that always grips my heart. Right before me, signs implore me, help the needy and show them the way. Soft, compassionate words that could only come from the pure word of, wait for it, Randy, God. I'll finish actually with a a little snippet I wrote today, thinking about Goethe, who I read his Faust recently, and something jumped out at me. It's only a small point, but massively important because it's a very strange work. He spent years writing it, even the first part. Faust. Goethe decried Christianity, yet he utilized it sublimely by placing Margarita at the heart of his otherwise dense plot for the bloom of the drama. Might come back for next week with another segment from the new work, Modern Heresies. Thank you.